They may call you Kid Dynamite. You mess with me, I'll put your fuse out.
Bob Sapp is a steroid-fueled monster whose fists wreaked havoc in the ring. Even Mike Tyson himself gave him a wide berth. His superhuman size, monstrous strength, and an incredible desire to maim his opponents caught the attention not only of violence enthusiasts, but also of Hollywood. And now you'll see the most jaw-dropping knockouts from this giant mutant. This is Boxing Game. Here we go. Ernesto Hoost is a living legend of kickboxing who was an insatiable collector of scalps. He had 99 victories, 62 of which ended in spectacular knockouts. Then in 2002, just received an offer to test his fists against Bob Sapp, which he accepted without hesitation. Before the fight, the audience was convinced that this mountain of muscle would be a walk in the park for Ernesto. From the very first seconds of the fight, Hoost immediately unleashed a symphony of violence on Sapp, thereby shattering all his confidence. And then the kickboxing legend put his signature weapon, the low kick, to work. But Sapp clearly had no intention of being a punching bag and seized the initiative with his fists. Then, driving his prey into a corner, Bob began pummeling his opponent at point-blank range. And after turning Ernesto's face into Dutch cheese, Sapp began striking fear into the entire kickboxing world. After such a bitter defeat, Hoost's ego was clearly bruised, and by challenging Sapp to a rematch, he wanted to prove to everyone that the steroid-fueled giant's victory had been nothing more than a fluke. So when the two fighters met in the center of the ring, the spectators began to wonder which one would be carried out feet first. The fight began, and from the very first seconds, Bob pounced on Hoost as if he were after free protein bars. But soon the Dutchman took control of the fight and, with a series of precise strikes, began polishing Sapp's bald spot. And then, he set about demolishing Bob's lower floors like a wrecking ball, and a little later sent him straight to the canvas. But this only awakened a ferocious beast within Sapp. For after cornering Hoost, the giant began to literally crush his skull. Uneager to witness a public execution, the referee rushed to Ernesto's aid. Having defeated the kickboxing legend twice, Sapp felt a surge of monstrous power and craved nothing but more bloodshed. The next flashy kamikaze who dared to stand in Sapp's way was named Kimo Leopoldo. From the very first seconds, the ring looked like a new episode of Tom and Jerry as a terrified Kimo ran for his life from the enraged Sapp. Kimo, like a vicious hyena sensing weakness, pounced on the exhausted body, overwhelming the powerhouse with his blows. However, after a brief rest on the canvas, Sapp finally came to his senses and rushed to smash Kim's face in. After yet another win, Sapp crowned himself king of the ring and immediately called out Iron Mike, who'd been watching from the front row.
Hey, listen up here. Hey. They may call you Kid Dynamite. You mess with me, I'll put your fuse out.
However, while the promoters were negotiating the terms of the fight with Iron Mike, Bob Sapp wasn't about to sit around twiddling his thumbs, so he stepped into the ring against Nakasako. Sapp immediately demonstrated his penchant for violence and quickly knocked the Japanese fighter down. Nakasako barely managed to get back to his feet. But not for long, because the steroid-fueled Godzilla immediately unleashed a tsunami of punches on the Japanese fighter. And it took a dozen men to subdue the crazed psychopath. His wild antics and striking charisma quickly caught the attention of producers outside the ring, and soon Sapp had his golden ticket to Hollywood's film sets. However, even after achieving such fame, Bob kept returning to the ring in search of new victims. The rising star of the time, Remy Bonjasky, nicknamed the Flying Gentleman, was one of those victims. And that nickname perfectly suited his fighting style, because literally soaring through the air, Remy elegantly dimmed the lights in his opponent's eyes. The fight began, and Sapp seemed to see his opponent as a source of protein, so he immediately lunged at him. However, managing to escape from under the claws of the ferocious beast, Remy began to demonstrate the strike he had honed in training. And then he even brought the big guy to his knees. But when he got back up, Sapp, like a raging bull, brought the Flying Gentleman crashing down from the heavens and slammed Remy's head into the floor with his sledgehammer. After that, the Flying Gentleman needed medical attention and was unable to continue the fight. Bob's next opponent turned out to be Cyril Abidi, for whom his opponent's size had never mattered. But as soon as the bell rang, Sapp's primal instinct kicked in, and he stormed toward his opponent like a hurricane. Not sure where to go, Abidi panicked and started looking for an emergency exit from this Bermuda rectangle. However, Sapp cut off all escape routes and soon put his opponent's skull through a brutal test drive. And he emerged victorious in this one-sided beatdown. In 2003, Sapp faced the cholesterol samurai known as Akebono, a man capable of boosting any burger joint's quarterly revenue with a single visit. And when the two giants stepped into the ring, the audience hoped it could withstand their monstrous size. As soon as the bell rang, Akebono, like a hydraulic press, tried to crush his opponent in his deadly embrace. However, Sapp clearly wasn't having any of that, and soon he set out to test the strength of his opponent's skull. Then, with a massive slam, he nearly folded the ring in half. Without wasting the referee's time, he landed a precise shot that sent Akebono into a deep sleep. The next man Bob Sapp came face to face with was the dark horse of the time, and his name was Stefan Gamlin. From the very first seconds of the fight, Sapp aggressively set about tearing his opponent to pieces. However, Stefan Gamlin managed to catch Bob off guard and sent him crashing to the canvas. Next, the steroid-fueled monster locked onto his prey with a death grip and began to choke him in cold blood. And the referee could no longer stand by and watch this violence, so he decided to stop the fight. Friends, our video is coming to an end. Today you have seen Bob Sapp's most spectacular and mind-blowing knockouts. Unfortunately, his fight with Iron Mike never happened, but be sure to write in the comments who you think would have emerged victorious from that showdown. This has been Boxing Game. See you next time.